FBO. Doing it live.
We're about to do it live.
Well, they just have the live FPO.
Still getting used to the fact that I'm not running through a mixer board and I have to do this differently now.
Oh,
Where's that? Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host at Beerfield Hop with 2 P's, as always, joined by at Beerfield Thury. And it is our Ryan Miner is doing the kid football thing today, but he's covering the Twitter at Beerfield. If you have any start sit questions you'd like to ask there, it is the debut of our 2022 Sunday live stream. Little later than we will go normally. I was traveling back from Bardstown, Kentucky this morning, so we couldn't start during our normal 10 o'clock slot, which is when this normally is. So went ahead and moved it off to 11 so we could get one in. We didn't want to start the first 2 weeks of the season without having this, with none of us available last weekend. So that being, or I guess it was really just me that wasn't available last weekend. And I'm apparently
I was hungover.
I'm apparently key to this.
You are.
I'm not hungover, but I've been on a 3-day bender, and I know that I've been on a 3-day bender. Let's put it that way.
Oofta.
Yeah, gastrointestinal. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
That means I just blew up a toilet. First off, word of advice. If you have a dynasty league, it's called Kickers Matter, that has some good kicker scoring, but maybe make sure that the kicker that's out is not in your lineup. Rookie mistake on my part. It's not that I wasn't aware that that Butker was out, because we talked about it on this show 2 days before. I just didn't go back and look because I was busy with other things. So, yep, that's I should be punished for that one, and we'll figure out come Tuesday's show what I'm going to punish myself with. It will be something worse than PBR.
Like Bud Ice?
There's a lot of things worse than PBR.
Oh, we can get to like the high gravity stuff.
Yeah, we could. Self-imposed punishment, though, which means
if you really want to punish yourself,
it's a self-imposed one, so I get to pick it.
You get to pick it. That's true. You do. If it was me.
All right, so start sit questions. Put them in the chat. We'll hang out here for a bit, run through the latest news, ins, outs, all that fun type of stuff to get through asking for friends. Since I just got home, I've got 5 more lineups to set. And all my tinkering. We'll start off, though, with weather. Something that we didn't discuss last week, mostly because we didn't do this last week. Bears and Niners played in a monsoon, and that obviously led to some different fantasy outtakes. The only game right now that looks like it is weather susceptible is weirdly the 49ers again in San Francisco against the Seahawks. Possible light rain, 13-mile-an-hour winds. So it's not severe enough to where it should affect it anywhere near what last week's did. But, it's maybe a little something to pay attention to. Really, if you got 2 people you value the same, maybe that's your tiebreaker. If you're trying real close to choose between 2 people, unless it's, Jeff Wilson. But that shouldn't be hugely impactful. Everything else appears to be pretty tame from a wind and weather standpoint.
Good.
Even temperature-wise, the hottest game is, 93, but that's in Dallas, and they could close the room. So, anyway, there you go.
Did you see Jameis Winston? He's playing with 4 fractures in his back.
Is he really?
Yeah.
No wonder his whole body hurt.
I was like, that sounds like a decision you should just
not make.
You should just sit, bud. Just relax.
Oh shit!
4 fractures in your back does not he's gonna be fucked up on cortisone shots and shit.
That's a thing I didn't want to have to do today.
Which also I
have to run it back with Allen Robinson. because Michael Pittman's out.
Well, that's at least it's Robinson. All right,
Uh,
JD's got a couple for us.
all right, cool.
Zeke Elliott or Henderson, and then Wilson or Ingram. I'm assuming it's Mark Ingram with the Alvin Kamara news being out for the day.
Zeke Elliott, Jeff Wilson for me.
Well, I think there are two separate leagues. Maybe.
Right.
Oh, I get you. I get you. I still go Elliott.
Two separate leagues, and I answered two
separate
separate
leagues,
questions.
separate answers.
Yeah.
Look
at me.
Look
at me
you.
go.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at me. Yeah, I think it's Elliott and and Wilson as well.
They're gonna quote feed Zeke, I think, in this one a bit more with Cooper Rush going. Cincinnati doesn't, they do have a decent defense, but I think that Zeke's just got a little bit more insulated volume because it was Zeke or Henderson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For the Rams, Henderson definitely got the bulk of the workload in week 1. It is a better defensive matchup. You still got to keep in the back of your mind there's a possibility that could course correct a little bit more towards Akers. Whereas, your known commodity is the Zeke Pollard split, with that potentially leaning a little bit more towards the run game. At this point in the season, you're going with your known commodities over things that might still have question marks.
Yeah. And I get potentially Henderson, there's a world with them playing against.
Oh, yeah. I could very, very well be wrong about this.
Who are the Rams playing?
The Rams are playing Atlanta.
Ooh.
I know. It gives me, it made me stop and think about it because there's definitely a world where I'm wrong about that. But I think if I were making the decision, and that's the best way I can answer this, I would still lean Zeke.
That's a coin flip for me. The Wilson Ingram's a little bit easier. Ingram's also dealing with an injury.
They have more
San
than
Francisco
one
just
they can push out there.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, Diego's asking Devin Singletary or Curtis Samuel, and I think I want to run it back. I think I want to run it with Curtis Samuel in this one, with the encouragement from last week in his usage, and then Devin Singletary really in a split backfield, which he's always been. Will always cap his upside and a bit of his floor because Moss got all the pass catching work last week.
Yeah, Moss did get all the pass catching work last week, and they are going to use that back by committee, and it is going to be a hot hand approach. They may have been sending a message to James Cook last week after the early fumble, but if Cook sees any work and that's just not the normal split, then that very well easily could cut into Devil Singletary.
Yeah, Devil Singletary. I like
Devin Singletary's workload. Bills do have the Titans, kind of a neutral matchup at this point in the season, especially against the run. So, yeah, I think I'm with you. I want to run it back with Curtis Samuel. There's been basically 2 years of hype that he was going to be used this way and used in this gadget role, and you finally got to see it with 11 targets from Carson Wentz. The Eagles just put up 38 against the Lions. The Lions showed that they can keep pace against the Eagles defense, which is a relatively good defense. So, I definitely like the Curtis Samuel call to run it back a bit more than Devin Singletary, just given that target volume and the fact that the game script for that Washington-Detroit game should be a little bit more favorable. I think on Tuesday we called that out as a game that could be surprisingly high scoring.
Yeah. All right. Bama wants to know. Shout out to Bama.
What's up, Bama?
Bama. Hines or Burkhead PPR. And I think this one's a little closer, maybe with all the news in Indy, with all the wide receivers hurt now. No Pierce, no Pittman. You get Jacksonville. It cannot all be Taylor. I mean, everyone's predicting Taylor to go off on this, 40 touches. That'd be
insane.
Complete mismanagement of such an important piece to use them in that way.
Would be. And the Broncos defense is good. They played Seattle. We're anticipating that they're good.
Yeah.
Burkhead did have over 100 scrimmage yards. So for me, God,
it's still tough. Burkhead for me.
Still Burkhead, but I see why the question's there.
It's I can see Hines getting a little more run, like actual running work, and not being used as much in the passing game. As the way to spell JT. Burkhead, on the other hand, gets both, right? At some point we're going to see a little more Dameon Pierce. At some point we're going to see that flip. And right now, Burkhead will always have the pass catching work. Denver's offense, I do not expect to be as bad as it was Monday night against Seattle. Expect them to get a lot of their kinks fixed.
Yeah.
Which is going to lead to Denver, obviously, hopefully scoring more points, and Houston having to play a little more hurry up or playing from behind. This is still the week to play Burkhead, just anticipating some of the pass catching for to be there.
All right.
And then another question from Bama. With Pittman out, he's kind of in your same boat. He's got Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, or Devonta Smith. And I think we can both rule Devonta Smith out. This is half point PPR, so this does favor some of the bigger plays. So it's either DJ Moore or Robinson.
DJ Moore's target volume from last week in a close game really concerns me. That most of that went towards Robbie Anderson, and you have to wonder about that chemistry with Baker Mayfield, or if it's gonna get right. Panthers running the same offense that he's been successful in, but different quarterback. They are playing against the Giants, but Giants overperformed last week, so I'm a little more iffy on DJ Moore. I ran it back with Allen Robinson just because I think it's more likely for the Rams to course correct after a bad showing against a really, really good defense than it is for the Panthers to course correct against, another mediocre matchup, but they had a mediocre matchup last week too. So for me, I'm running it back with Allen Robinson. I don't feel good about it, but the narrative that I'm telling myself to make myself feel better about that one is that it is Atlanta. It's a plus matchup. The offense did show a little pop from Atlanta, which should keep this from being a blowout. And, the Rams will course correct. It's too good of a team with too good of a coaching staff to not course correct what happened last week. And the way that they have to do that, and we saw this all last year too, is they got to get Kupp and that outside receiver going. Be it whether it was Robert Woods, whether it was Odell Beckham, now with Allen Robinson there, that other wide receiver for the Rams to be successful has to be successful. So they're going to find a way to make him successful.
Yeah, this can easily be a game where they want to make sure Robinson gets involved. I think this could be a game where they just decide to go full on. We just won the Super Bowl mode, and we're coming off of a bad match. We're coming off of a pretty embarrassing loss, where this team just goes, full on, Super Saiyan, it just completely destroys Atlanta. New Orleans is an okay team. They're nothing to, to scoff at, but they're also not world beaters by any means. Rams can get to that point, and this could be the game against a very favorable matchup. Devon, with the DJ Moore thing, it's, just some more time with Baker. He had 2 less targets than Robbie Anderson, so it's not like it's, completely, changed there. I do expect better days, but it does suck to have to pick between 3 wide receivers that all had pretty forgettable performances in week 1, so you can't even hold strong on that.
Yeah.
All right. Alex wants to know 4-point PPR. He needs 3.
Yeah.
You got to pick 3 of these guys.
Hold on. I started taking notes on these.
That's smart. They're all wide receivers, and there's only 4 of them. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. So we have Paris Campbell, Jarvis Landry, Jacoby Myers, and Kyle Phillips. And Alex pointed out he's leaning to sit Landry due to Winston here being now.
So I don't
a broken record, which I still would play Landry over. I would think all of them.
I would still. Landry's the first one I'm sitting there saying I would absolutely play them. After when did Jameis get that back injury?
Well, I'm assuming he's had it at least since week 1. It's not like he just woke up with back fractures. So
right. So it had to have been at some point during week 1, and I get adrenaline or whatever, but given the week that Landry and Michael Thomas had last week, I think that you can run this back, and the Saints have had the Bucs number. So I think that you can run that back with Landry. The other three, so Landry's the first one I'm absolutely plugging in. The other three, Phillips had a very, very nice week. Very, very tough matchup this week against Buffalo for Phillips. However, Paris Campbell is absent Michael Pittman, but we haven't really seen him produce. So you're really taking a dart throw at he's going to be the guy that picks up in the receiving game with Pittman not there. And I actually think that could be the case.
So Kyle Phillips did land on the injury report on Thursday. He missed practice. Looks like it's a shoulder injury. I saw a blip come up from it this past, I think during Thursday.
Rookie
you know how injuries, yeah. I'm trying to get a little more news on it.
And a rookie wide receiver in a tough matchup. I mean, so that's gonna make it Myers, Landry, Campbell for me. I'll bet on Campbell getting some of Pittman's work and having that explosive ability over Phillips, who had a very nice week 1 in a tough matchup in his second career NFL game. Defenses will adjust to that, especially the Bills. And Myers is just, you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting. It's like you pour yourself a bowl of Cheerios in the morning, and it's going to be nutritious, and it's going to be good for you, and the bottom's going to fall out. And you can maybe enhance them a little bit with some fruit or whatever. But you know it's also not going to be fantastic. No one in their life has ever said, damn, that was a great bowl of Cheerios. Just like nobody said, damn, Jakobi Meyers just wanted me that week. But he won't lose you the week.
So we'll say this, and this will make it a lot easier. The Buffalo-Tennessee game is Monday night. Are you really going to wait for Kyle Phillips potentially by sending Campbell or Myers? No. So you're playing, Campbell, Landry, Myers. I think we've landed on that. All right. Sam Trigg wants to know. Sam, this is the first time I think I've seen you in the chat, so welcome. He wants us to pick one: Michael Thomas, CeeDee Lamb, or Hollywood Brown full point PPR. This one's a little tough. This one's tough.
Problem to have. Hollywood Brown against the Raiders.
Brown's the only one with a healthy quarterback, or at least a healthy startable from week 1 quarterback. I guess Cooper Rush is healthy, but
he also saw a healthy workload last week.
He did. Zach Ertz is banged up, I believe, too, but it sounds like he'll play. But
it's the Raiders, so there's gonna be scoring in this one. But it's not a fantastic defense. For Brown, for the Bucks, and for Michael Thomas. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Otherwise, it would have been pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have been bad. The bottom didn't fall out or anything like that. It would have just been like, yeah, it was okay. Bucks have good outside cornerbacks. Landry did get more of the slot work than Thomas did.
Which he should.
So, I'm a little more tepid on him. And the other one was CeeDee Lamb with Cooper Rush against the Bengals. I feel like it's Hollywood for me.
Yeah, I'm landing with Brown here.
I think Lamb would probably be fine, but I think Brown gives you the most upside.
Yeah, Lamb just has a lower ceiling because the offense in itself is going to be bad. You could definitely see a world where he gets hyper targeted, but you got to have good targets. You got to catch them, and you got to make the most of them. And CeeDee's a yak guy, which does require some precision on some of these throws that can lead to large yak opportunities. Otherwise, it could be just 10 targets, 6 catches for 40 yards, and then you're like, what the fuck happened? So I think Brown's to play as well. It's Alex, another question. Full point PPR. He needs 2. And there are a mixture of running backs from receivers in this one. So he needs 2 between AJ Dillon, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, and Travis Etienne. And currently, right now, he's playing Dillon and A-Rob. I would play Etienne and I play Oh my god, I'm definitely playing ETN in this matchup here between these guys. A lot of work in the passing game, and Jacksonville was almost always play from behind, and they're almost always going to be throwing. They just that offense is going to like against Washington, who's not a fast paced team. They still threw a lot, so I'm definitely playing ETN. I'm going back to the well there. So it'd be for me, it'd be between Dylan, Lamb, and A Rob. Even in full point, I still kind of like Dylan. I still kind of running it back with both the running backs here. Dylan should get a healthy work against the Bears. The only concern is if they want to get if they want to get Aaron Jones a little more work compared to last week, where it was more Dylan than Jones, even though Jones had more of the snaps.
You want to remind me what the question is? Sorry, I'm in a Gabe Davis panic at the moment.
No, you're good. Yeah, that's also been a tough call. Dylan, Lamb, Allen Robinson, or Travis Etienne. Pick 2 full point PPR.
Dylan, Lamb, Robinson, Etienne.
Yep. And currently, right now, he has Dylan and A Rob in. And I want to play Etienne more so.
Yeah, Etienne got a lot of target volume.
I can see. I think I would play Lamb over Robinson.
Yeah.
Now it's just a question of, do I play a second running back and Dylan over?
I think I would. I mean, the Bears in a rain-soaked game. I mean, look, Elijah Mitchell was shredding them on a yards per attempt, and they knew they were running the football. The Packers are going to try to run the football, given the fact that they don't have much outside, and it's basically going to be like, can Roquan Smith stop those two, and that's just an impossible ask. So I do like the idea of starting Dylan and ETN because I think they're the safest options this week. CeeDee Lamb, you got questions about Dak. Robinson, I could argue that Robinson has a higher ceiling, but it's purely based on this narrative that I'm spinning about what the Rams are going to do versus what actually happened in week 1.
Yeah. We're a lock and step. So Alex, we're going to go with the 2 running backs and Dylan and Etienne. Matt Solis, I apologize for pronouncing that wrong, like I do about every name. Also, I think first time I saw you in here, so welcome. I think this one's a little bit easier. Travis Etienne or Damian Harris. I think
I'm going Etienne on that one.
It's Etienne. Yeah, that one's pretty simple. So Matt, play Etienne.
Go with Etienne in this one.
Yeah, and then team out of nowhere. I believe also first time I've seen you in here. So
I love the reference though.
Yeah. So we got to pick one full point PPR. Hines, Bateman, Ramondre Stevenson, or Cam Akers.
Not Cam Akers.
Yeah,
I scared to death about where Cam Akers is.
Yeah, I need to see. We need to at least see the snaps work up and him cut into the Henderson workload before I even feel confident. You're not dropping him. You just
put him on your bench for a little bit.
Just throw him on your bench and
not Cam Akers.
Yeah.
It was Hines, Bateman, and Stevenson.
Yeah. I don't think it's Stevenson.
Stevenson doesn't have Ty Montgomery. It is a split though. There is PPR work to be had. I'm not saying no. I just want to break down this other a little bit. I think I would have him maybe over Hines, just because I think Hines is again more of a spin the narrative type of thing versus not what we saw. Bateman is the one that's interesting to me up there with Stevenson. Against the Dolphins did load up on offense. Bateman did have a nice floor last week. Ravens were moving the football. I mean, I almost say out of this bunch, it's Bateman. I think there's a similar floor to what Stevenson and Hines give you with a higher ceiling.
Yeah, and it's not like the Ravens are going to be blowing out Miami and then kind of just playing, pitch and catch I do expect Lamar to throw more. Expect this. I expect them to be a little more up tempo. Bateman only got 2 catches on 6 targets or on 5 targets, so it wasn't like he was lighting it up. But Hines, as you mentioned, we have to spin the narrative to get him there. I do expect him to get a little more work, but against Jacksonville, it's hard for me to see them needing to use Hines as a pass catcher. Now, there's definitely a world where that can happen because Jacksonville will throw a lot and we'll try to keep this game going. With Stevenson, it's I need this. I still need to see him at least over even take Harris at this point. The loss of Ty will help, but Harris had the more receiving line anyway, so there's no guarantee that Stevenson even receives the receiving work with Ty out. So a long-winded answer for both of us. We're both going to land on Bateman, and that will catch us up with all the questions for right now.
Not quite.
I mean, in the chat.
In the chat, sure. I do have one.
The more important people.
I actually have 2.
Well, perfect. Let's hear them.
Hold on, I gotta pull it back up. I don't remember where it was. The problem with having that many leagues.
Yeah, yep.
I actually have to remember where shit is. But here? No. I am starting DPJ this week, though. That's a little...
I was going to, and then I think I put Burkhead in. No, I put Ashton Doolin in over him because I'm so pumped for Ashton Doolin Day.
The answer might have been Josh Palmer, but I left him on my bench. I am starting DPJ sense. Over Isaiah McKenzie and KJ Osborne and Elijah Moore.
I think I would almost play McKenzie, especially with the news of Davis.
Actually, that's a really good call. This is why I'm asking these things, because Davis, I am imagining if he plays, is going to be more of a decoy than anything this week, and that's why. By the way, Corey Davis hurt his ankle on Thursday, non-contact. Plays on Monday, and
Gabe Davis, not Corey Davis.
Gabe Davis, sorry.
Listeners. Yes, yep.
Yeah, plays on Monday, and you don't want to gamble with that unless you also have Isaiah McKenzie on the same roster and can make that swap at the last minute.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's against the Titans. Kyle Phillips banged up, so maybe him. I don't know. Either way, make sure you have a backup plan if you are a Gabe Davis fantasy manager.
Thankfully, there's 4 teams playing Monday, so a little bit bigger pool, including KJ Osborne, which I believe you mentioned in there. So
I did mention KJ Osborne in there. He is playing against the Eagles, so you do have that as an option. It was here, I think. Yeah.
Bama's got another question. Pat Freiermuth or Kyle Granson?
Freiermuth. He had double-digit targets last week.
Yeah, I expect that. I mean, he may not get those every game, but I fully expect. It's Freiermuth.
Where the hell did I have this question at? I know I had it. It might have been here. I have too many leagues.
Oh, hit somebody.
Paris Campbell, Jacoby Myers. No, it wasn't that one either. I don't know where the hell my question was now.
Oh no, the one you just asked me?
No, well, no, that one I'm pretty fine with starting Campbell. I need a boom because it's the league where I forgot I had Harrison Butker in my lineup.
Oh, so it's your dynasty league, yes.
Yeah, so I need that boom there. Where the shit did I have this problem at? This is gonna bother me now, Dan.
That'll happen. I guess we can while you're looking, we'll run through some of the quick outs here.
Yeah, run through some of the outs.
Yeah, so Julio Jones, Alvin Kamara are both out for the Saints. Jameis Winston's dealing with 4 fractures in his back. That game is going to be potentially ugly. Brady has, for some reason, struggled since joining Tampa Bay against the Saints in New Orleans, so we'll see how that game looks. It could be ugly. Swift is officially active for the Lions. Mike Evans as well. Dobbins is out. We're going to be waiting on that for longer. Kadarius Toney is active. Hopefully he'll get more than 12% of the snaps this week.
Shouldn't be starting him though.
should not be starting him. Saints, with the news, with all their injuries, they are expected to split the work between Mark Ingram and Tony Jones, as Ingram is still battling his own ankle injury. T. Higgins is going to play. He is active, which is good. Good. Allen Lazard is expected to play tonight against the Bears Sunday Night Football.
Note on that, by the way. Yes, Rodgers should target the shit out of him, but the Bears secondary
I don't even think it's guaranteed that he targets the shit out of Lazard either.
No, and if Lazard's still hurt, it could be a rush job. And the Bears secondary is actually decent. The front seven leaves a lot to be desired right now, but the secondary is not terrible. So
and you have no wide receivers in Green Bay that can separate.
Right.
Their two highest target getters last week were rookies. I do expect Watson to get some more big plays. So he is someone to still monitor even after his own drop. But there is a bit of concern that we've raised all offseason with Green Bay's offense. Then again, no George Kittle. So have some of those options in place there. Logan Thomas isn't available in a lot of leagues, and I do like him. Damian Williams for Atlanta got placed on IR, so we should start to see a little more Tyler Algier. Mix him
should at least
with
be active,
Patterson.
So that's good.
We talked a bunch about Gabe Davis. Michael Pittman is out for those who don't know, so please take him onto your lineups and have some options replaced. With Pittman, there's also no Alex Pierce, so you're starting two receivers for the Colts right now are Paris Campbell and our boy Ashton Dulin. Yep. Which I am totally ready for.
So basically, Paris Campbell's an even better plug-in based on that.
I love both of them.
I do too, but
especially Dulin. Dulin's a bigger bodied receiver. He should get more of the outside work, but obviously we know how explosive Campbell is when he's healthy. So I do like both of them. Yeah. We know about Godwin being out. And then at this point, we are a couple days past today, so should have most of the info out there for everybody.
I never did find that question. It must have been something I was overthinking because I looked at it now and I'm like, oh, that was pretty obvious. That or it was something the Gabe Davis news changed entirely.
It could be, and for those out there that are still listening, Gabe Davis is questionable. He's not been ruled out. I checked on ESPN. They have his projections set at 0, so that's going to freak a lot of people out. Yeah. But because he's playing the first Monday night game, if you're planning on trying to play Gabe Davis, have some Monday night options. We talked about KJ Osborne, Isaiah McKenzie, someone like Jamison Crowder potentially in those deeper leagues if those two are gone. If someone dropped Devonta Smith for whatever reason after his donut game week 1,
put him in your flex, and
he should be in your flex.
Should be in your flex spot, absolutely. Because then what that's also going to open up for you is it's going to open up any of the 3 Bills backs that could be out there on waivers that you could plug in. It's also going to open up any of the Eagles backs. You've got the advantage of having 2 teams playing that use a running back by committee, which means there is a chance to steal a touchdown there if you need to. So
that
it's gross, but they're options.
More, I got the updated score on the women's FPO playoff.
Oh,
sorry, major swing. The Tar's up 8 strokes now.
So she turned it on.
Well, that and unfortunately,
Hannah did
not. I think she took a double or triple bogey in that one. All right, so Bama. One more question for Bama here. He's got Devonta Smith in the flex, and he's asking, would you swap him? Would you swap him out for either Gainwell or Marvin Jones? And it's not Marvin Jones.
Not Marvin Jones.
He's not even the best Jones on that team right now. Gainwell's interesting.
Let me go look at Gainwell's utilization from last week.
It's about 30% of snaps. It wasn't great.
He's got the touchdown.
It's got the touchdown. he does take the red zone work away, but fuck, Boston Scott got a touchdown.
They
I
all
would
got
not.
touchdowns or
I would
targets for
not.
Gainwell. I would not. No.
Yeah. This is a fun matchup. This should be a decently scoring game between Philadelphia and Minnesota, but I
NFC
think Smith.
Championship game rematch from
Yeah,
a
I
couple
know.
of years ago. Just so I can remind you about that.
Well, I know. Thankfully, I think we won in 2018 too when we played them the following year. I don't remember. I tend to black out, during those times. But I would still play Devonta Smith over both of them.
Yeah.
Minnesota's got a weak secondary, and I expect a little more just as much scoring as they put up against the Lions.
Yeah. I know my question involved Jahan Dotson. I think it was Dotson and Isaiah McKenzie.
Oh, that is close. But Dotson barely got. Dotson got the touchdowns. It's the work.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him score, but he's firmly the wide receiver 3 there still. In terms of snaps, and you just yes, you should see him get some more work, but he's still firmly the 3.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was.
And I
Dotson
would still play McKenzie
because I lost Pittman. It was actually Dotson, McKenzie, or Elijah Moore. Yeah, it was this league. I see what I was debating on now. So pick one: Dotson, McKenzie, Elijah Moore.
I think it'd be Elijah Moore. I still trust in the. I know it's against Cleveland. The Jets shouldn't have to throw nearly as much as they did against Baltimore, but he's still their number 1. McKenzie still needs, the Gabe Davis injury doesn't directly affect his role, and he's still splitting work with Crowder. Yeah, I think it's Elijah Moore for me. I'm willing to double back on that. I'm willing to go back to the well and hope things would be better.
I think I'm going to roll with Dotson still.
Okay.
It's against Detroit, so I'll gamble there. The other one is Jeff Wilson, Khalil Herbert, or James Robinson.
Herbert, Robinson, and who else?
Jeff Wilson.
Ooh, I think Wilson over both.
That's what I've got right now is Wilson.
All right, we got another question, Mr. Papanopoulos, which is him and I do a fair amount of talking on Twitter and all sorts of fun stuff. Colton too. Half point PPR, Judy or Lamb? He's already playing Sutton.
I
think
get
I'm playing
why
Judy.
You're scared to do that, but it's Judy and pump that into my fucking veins. Given what he did last week.
Both him and Sutton in a poor offensive showing against a team that apparently Lockett said that Wilson was using the same hand signals as he used in Seattle. So I'm playing Denver offense this week because Houston. I get it. If they get up big, you may not get as much target volume in the second half, but they got to score points to get up big. So definitely going Lamb. One more question here from no one. Love it. Titans QB or Browns QB? I don't know if he's playing team QB or not, or if it's he just forgot that it was Tannehill or Jacoby Brissett. And the answer still is Tannehill. Very difficult matchup. Buffalo's got a very good team. Brissett, you're hoping for some, I think, more rushing production because he's a pretty bad thrower of the football.
He's not a good rusher either, though. That's not really ever been his game.
Yeah.
So.
And they got Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. There's no real need to use them.
There's no reason to force that. And it's against the Jets, who they should be able to run on.
Yeah, I'm going with Tannehill.
It's Tannehill.
I don't know what else is out there for you, but if you can potentially find some better options in either both of them, maybe.
Yeah.
Trying to think off the top of my head of
Carson Wentz, who might be
if Wentz is out there.
Lions. I think I would take Jameis Winston, even with 4 back fractures, over either of those.
So we've got some questions coming in. All right. This one's from Dennis. Half point PPR, Adam Thielen or Damian Harris?
Thielen still.
Yeah, same here. I love the matchup, even though it wasn't great for them last week. And then Cal L Full point PPR. Should I start Michael Carter or Robbie Anderson at my flex this week? So Michael Carter or Robbie Anderson. Hopper, I think you and I are in the same boat.
Yeah,
here.
Robbie Anderson. It's Michael Carter. Robbie Anderson
Michael Carter.
scares the shit. I was about to give the negative on Robbie Anderson.
It's very good. I was like, wait a minute.
No, Robbie Anderson scares the shit out of me because this is what you get with Robbie Anderson is he has been able to string together games like this or games like he had last week, and then he also just disappears for stretches at a time. And when I say stretches, it's not like 2 or 3 bust weeks. It's like 8, 9, 10 weeks at a time. The big weeks for Robbie Anderson are more of an anomaly than a consistency. It is a tougher matchup against the Steelers. Or sorry, I looked at that wrong. They're not playing the Steelers. They're playing the Giants. It's not a tougher matchup. Looking at the wrong line. So not a tougher matchup. Giants did play better than normal. But the thing is as long as Joe Flacco is quarterbacking the Jets, Michael Carter and Breece Hall are both going to get peppered with targets. And Carter's on the right side of that 60-40 split.
Yeah, and the fact Robbie Anderson's complete day is made up by one bomb, by one broken play. So
yeah, the final stat line looks a lot better than the day actually was.
I'm almost never Robbie Anderson unless it's the playoffs, where for some fucking reason
just
Robbie
always
Anderson
strings it together. Yeah,
he tends to be a top 15 receiver in the playoffs. So, again, Michael Carter. Going back to Titans QB and Browns QB. If you're still listening, no one. Kirk Cousins, if he's out there, would be a great play. I think we talked about. I think you mentioned Jameis Winston. I think you're right.
I mentioned that.
I would look elsewhere, but I would still play them both over both these matchups.
Tua is the other one. I think that
Tua is another one.
Ownership that I would use over.
Yep.
Go with over that.
And I don't know. Let's play Baker.
Hell, Lance Fields. Anyway. There's a lot of people I like other than Tannehill and Brissett. Actually,
hopefully
those are like
play.
bottom 5 options for me this week.
Yeah, I'm hoping you have a little more options to pick from. I don't think I would even play Flacco over them, but that's probably
I put Flacco in that bottom tier too.
He would absolutely be there. I
think I'd still go Tannehill over Flacco. Anyway,
we got about 7 minutes to kick off. I don't know. I don't got any asking for friends. Thankfully, most of mine were pretty simple to make. So
I have stakes in Chris Godwin, Keenan Allen, Gabe Davis, and Michael Pittman. So a little bit of
I have a lot of Pittman.
A little bit of a rough morning for me.
Yeah, but I have Pittman in 2 leagues, and one of which is a best ball. And the other one is I only had one other choice, and that was George Pickens, so there was no other choice.
There's one thing you know about me at this point in time. It's that I draft my teams deep. I draft a lot of floor. I lean towards floor players for my bench instead of guys with huge upside that need things to go right to hit, and this is exactly why. Because when this happens, I'm not panicking on the waiver wire because one of my high upside guys hasn't hit yet. I've got 2 or 3 other options I can plug in based on matchup. So roster construction. So,
all right. I think that's everything.
That's our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. For any of you that are still hanging around, a lot of new names out there. We do live stream the full show with full weekly reviews and previews on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, depending on availability. It's normally Wednesdays. I think it's Tuesday this upcoming week, just because we all have full-time jobs and other stuff going on. You can also find the recorded versions for your listening convenience anywhere you get podcast under Beerfield Podcast, or also on YouTube immediately after the conclusion of the show. Those will post and can be listened to whenever. You can always tweet at us on Twitter at Beerfield. Ryan Miner, who's not with us today, does a very good job of keeping up with that and keeping an eye on that and answering those questions. I am at Beerfield Hop. He is at Beerfield 30. Ryan Miner is at Ryan Miner _ FFB. If you're looking for written content, our daddies, if you will, the FF Faceoff, fffaceoff.com. Ton of written content out there where you can go read up on this stuff. So, thank you guys very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on Tuesday.